Should note one other thing. The winner of this matchup moves on to the round of 8, which is going to be a best of 7 matchup, and they'll be playing either player or arrow. So, two Zeus players there. So if Mista goes on, we might see some Zeus mirrors next round. And then if Mista or whoever gets by the next matchup with player and arrow, they could meet Army Corps in a round of 4 matchup. That's the way the bracket's kind of playing out, assuming Army Corps makes there as well. So could be saying Mista Army Corps in about 2 weeks or so. Alright, you see Zeus for Mista, so the main Civ matchups, what would be expected coming into this series. I think for Mista, we'll 99% likely see Poseidon in the second game after he wins. He could surprise us and go Egyptian, or even Uranus for that matter, but I think he's going to stick to his comfort zone in Greece. Alright, here we go. Let's see what the map is. Again, I think maps, especially with the no veto rule, could play a huge factor in these matchups, with the skill level being so high. So, Oasis. So if the Gaia players got to be happy. Blow Hunt's going to favor him, because he can just spam the crap out of Terma. His economy is a bit easier to manage with all the upgrades Gaia can get. Whereas Mista would love to have High Hunt so he could pump out Hoplites and Hippicon. A lot of times you'll see the Mista going with the why is there a pause? So Mista uses 2 unit compositions in this matchup. He uses a hop hip, and then he'll probably go hop hip set, especially being against a Gaia. So knowing the Centaurs are coming, you got to look at the Gaia playa map and see where he can wall off. Just taking a quick look, you see up here, there's no woods breaking this up. You've got the middle islands. It looks like it's going to be the 4 mini island variation of Oasis. But there's no other woods around here up top, which makes walling this off extremely difficult. You basically have to wall the whole way. His gold's also up to the top here, so first impressions is the top here is pretty bad for the Gaia player. Even down to the bottom here, I'm seeing only really 1 forest, and it's 2 at the back, not really in a good position to help him wall off. So Centaurs will definitely be coming from Mista, and it'll be interesting to see how the Gaia player is able to defend. Say, being Gaia, what you can do is use your own trees to form tree walls. So, put the first one next to your base so the villager can start there right away and in safety, but his second, third, and fourth use of the trees could be to create walls of trees, basically. Although, again, the map for him is just so open, it's going to be a pain in the ass to wall off. There's no doubt about it. See, I believe, yeah, I think it was a 2 zebra variation of this map, so the hunt on this map can vary from decent to non-existent. Zebras can be anywhere from 2 to 5, so in this case we got the 2, which is the minimum. Mista zebras are also really far away. Almost always they're just outside of your tower line of sight. I don't think I've ever seen him like this far away from your base. He's gonna get there fine and was on the same side of his chickens with helps, but See another random zebra to the bottom of the map here, but other than that, okay, some hyenas and berries, but Mista is literally to the point where he doesn't have the ample food to get classical unless he goes to his herdables right away, which is never ideal. Because the herdables just keep getting fatter as the game goes on, so you want to try to avoid getting to the herdables as late as possible. That way they maximize the food they can. So having to go to herdables to get classical is not a good sign for Mista map-wise. It's really going to hamper the amount of hippikins and hoplites he's able to spam. See giraffe down to the bottom. Fog of War only shows one at the moment, but that could be a decent source of hunt. The problem there is maps are random, and sometimes the hunt spawns so far away from your base that it's just not practical to go there. The villager walk distance time that you're yeah, you see the players. I think Mista's pissed about the lack of hunt this map. You see when you're turning to hyenas 3 minutes into the game, and then also both players having to eat their goats to start. It's less than ideal. Okay, so there we go. 4 giraffes. That's a lot of hunt. Only problem is it's so far away that I doubt either player really wants to make the trip down there. So, Gaia player with the cheap upgrades got the early husbandry, which is going to help, especially because there's a decent amount of herdables on this map. Got the pickaxe, and then got the hunting dogs as well. Hunting dogs was an interesting choice when there were only 2 zebra. Be interesting to see if he's able to find the 4-pack of giraffes somewhere on his side and take advantage of that later with the hunting dogs that he got. See Mista up, heavy on wood, which means centaurs are coming, so we talked about that earlier. Extremely good centaur map. If you look at it for the Gaia player, he literally has no forest to wall around. His base is just completely open. So, walling off the top here, look at it, nothing. You gotta wall the whole distance. Here you've gotta wall the whole distance. To the bottom, really, you'd have to try to choke it off here, because otherwise you're just walling open space, which is inefficient. And then just walling in general, as Atlantean, is harder. Because your villagers are basically 3 in 1. Normal civs can wall off by sending 1 villager, whereas Atlantean, you're going to be sending a minimum 3 villagers to wall if you send a villager, so what we're seeing here is going to be forest and building placement to try to zone out the centaurs, but even that's going to be hard. He's really going to need to just get units out quickly, convert them to heroes, and then defend. The good news for him is that Mista's map and food sources were so bad that there's not going to be a unit follow-up to this. Mista's going to have heroes and centaurs, but it's not like there's going to be hoplites and hippikins following this up as well. As soon as he gets out enough Terma and converts them to heroes and starts defending, he should be fine. You also see the tower upgrade coming right away. That's another really good way to defend. That'll kind of shut down the Odysseus and do some additional damage to the centaurs. So he's been knocked off gold completely at the moment, but hopefully he had enough gold banked that he'll be okay. He's got to be careful, he's losing some units. So, he's just got to get the heroes out and then he can push Mista back. Mista, on the other hand, you see the staple coming out, but Mista's economy just looks like it's going to be in a rough shape. Second he runs out of goats, which is getting closer to that point. He's really got, unless he makes a play for these giraffes, he's going to have to go to early farms, which going to early farms slows you down. That's wood and resources you could be spending on military, but instead you're having to pump it into the farms earlier, which are quite expensive, 75 wood apiece, so that really slows down and limits the aggression that Mista can put on. So there we go. We've got the first hero, Terma, converted for Gaia. The problem with Gaia is she doesn't get Valor, like Kronos and Uranus, which give you free heroes. So instead she's got to play a pretty heavy price to convert each hero individually. And then if they just get focused down, you're in trouble. So her biggest weakness is obviously dealing with myth units. Her economy is really nice. She's got the Atlantean unit spam, but the lack of heroes can hurt her. So yeah, no upgrades for Mista at this point, so already 7 minutes in, going to farms. See, for the Gaia player, you've got the hand axe and shaft mine, the second level gold, already 7 minutes into the game, so you also had the very early husbandry. So alright, so about 160 or so. I think that was a relatively full food goat for Mista. It's got 160, where if you go over here, it's got 206, so I think you got about a 40 gold difference per goat in food as a result of the early husbandry for the Gaia player. Also see him now moving out with his human units. The only risk there is the centaurs can run the human units down and kind of pick them off if Mista's got enough centaurs out, which looks like he's got about 4 at the moment. So he's got to be careful with the counter raids, but at the same time, with Mista's economy being upgradeless and so fragile, he just got husbandry and pickaxe, but any villagers Mista loses, or even just the lost mining time, is critical for him. When you're already in a shitty economic situation, last thing you want to do is be running around and having villagers damaged or possibly killed. See here, the centaurs are going to be able to pick off most of these units. Oh my... Talk about a misclick. Oh... That's a huge mistake, like huge. He could completely deny the second town center timing. Mista doesn't have any heroes remotely in place or remotely close to help out, so if this carnivore had been cast on the town center, it would take it to 0 at this point. Instead, Mista's going to be able to build it and get it up in time, whereas he would have been completely shut down if this plan had been casted in range. That's just a huge mistake. It's really disappointing to see. Still, one thing to really note though is the gold situation. Mista's playing a low gold style, which is going to help. Centaurs don't cost any gold, and he's making very few hippie-cons, so reality is Mista's still ways away from being gold starved because he's using it so conservatively, but nonetheless, if you look at the army size and what's out on the map at the moment, the Gaia player outnumbers Mista army-wise, like easily 2 to 1, so when Mista does eventually have to move out and try to get his gold, he's probably going to be fighting at a disadvantage unit-wise. So, see the upgrades continuing for the Gaia player, Plow and Bowsaw, so would like to see the second town center, which he's getting now. Wish he would have been even timing-wise on Mista with the town center, so he's probably still massively ahead economically. 4,000, 3,000, 5,000, yeah. Huge economy lead for the Gaia player. But Mista taking the second town center earlier and also doing a pretty good job defending. Should help him come back a little bit. You see the score difference in Mista's 200 ahead, and a lot of that comes down to the cost effectiveness of Centaurs defending and killing units. Every time the Gaia player tries to raid with some Terma, the Centaur are just faster, get in range, and then 2 special attacks will pretty much kill a Terma, so it makes pressuring Mista extremely hard unless you go with your whole army, so still no walls coming up for the Gaia player either. I wouldn't mind seeing at least now that he's discovered this forest, just wall that off completely. Mista's really got so few hippie out that breaking through a wall will take Mista forever with so few hippie out, so any kind of walls will completely zone out the raids of Mista quite a bit. Alright, so we see a 12-minute heroic for the Gaia player that's going to allow him to get out the stupid birds that everybody loves. At least Mista's not Norris. I know all the Norris fans out there would be cringing right now. So he's got the birds, and then the Dryads could also be extremely cost-effective at this point in the game. Again, Mista being classical Greek, and more than likely being classical Greek for another few minutes here, as he transitions into a farm economy, which is going to take a while to get the food to go heroic. Early Dryads could be a pain to deal with when you've only got the 2 heroes. Tank a lot of damage from your units. Even these birds can be a pain to deal with, because the only range, or centaurs can deal with them. I forget about that, I take that back, but the only range hero Mista has is Odysseus, but the centaurs can also do okay if they can get a range. Problem is if the centaurs don't attack first and the birds do, the centaurs will just die to the birds, so. See the Gaia player moving out, whereas Mista's trying to poke. This is kind of a stalling tactic for Mista, although I don't know. Alright, now he sees that the raids moved out. That was really nice and intentional scout position for Mista. He left it there knowing that if the Gaia player wanted to attack, he'd be coming through the middle like that more than likely, so the scout identifies the potential raid. I also really like these towers. They're going to help secure this gold mine. I'm guessing crenellations. Yes, we have crenellations, so crenellations is going to make the towers automatically attack the centaurs and kind of deal damage if they step in range to try to kill these gold villagers. Good raid by Mista though with the centaurs. I think he killed at least 2 dryads. Oh, there we go. The bird like kills half the centaur HP with 1 attack. So gold situation for Mista, 500 and counting. He's got the armory. He's got heroic on the way. 25% through Apollo, which is going to grant him underworld passage. He's turtling in his base a bit. Interesting, we see the temple coming out. So the other thing, Apollo's not the underworld, it's the Manicore spam. The Manicore spam's going to be coming. Manicores cost wood, so we see Mista going heavy wood here. He may be low on food and gold at the moment, but this map does typically have plenty of wood, so Mista's going to be trying to spam the Manicores to defend. Question's going to be how good is the Gaia player's economy? Can he get out enough heroes to deal with the Manicore spam? It's got a decent amount of heroes built up at the moment. 5 heroes here. The other thing, these birds are also extremely helpful. It'd be nice if he could pick off this Manicore. I don't know if it's completely stuck because of the buildings and the villagers. I think the villagers are blocking it in. If he poked and saw it, he could pick it off. This hero Terma. So, Manicore spam coming from Mista. Hercules also coming out, which is going to help him deal with the Dryads a lot better. Having the 3rd hero is really nice. Also see the Market and Hera coming out for Mista, so as soon as this villager completes, Mista's going to be going Mythic, and what Hera's going to bring is the Lightning Storm. Good catch here from Mista. He's going to pick off the bird. He gets a nice flank and is going to kill one of the birds with his centaurs. That said, you see virtually no human units out here for Mista, and the bird's killing a few centaurs. Bird's focusing Odysseus, which is never good. You don't want the bird on the hero. Okay. So focusing here, I missed so the Gaia player getting Mythic. Tartarian gate coming down. Mista ceasefire is going to buy him time to get Mythic, at which point Lightning Storm will come out. It's going to completely clear out the Gaia player and get Mista this gold. I think my biggest concern at the moment is Mista doesn't really have anything to kill the gate. I also really like the use of the forest on top of the gate. It's going to make it harder for melee units to get in range to kill the gate, so these Tartarian spawns are just going to keep coming out repeatedly. Guessing the lightning storm will catch him by surprise. I think Mista's really one of the few people who go Hera, and he does it quite a bit against Atlanteans. The other thing that's going to give him is, by going Hera, is a stronger Titan if the game goes to Titans later on. But Mista doesn't really have any siege or human hack units that can really deal with this gate, which is what's concerning for me. I don't see a fortress. Sorry, I should follow the lightning storm, but it's just killing everything, and that's going to be assumed. It'll kill every single unit in the range here. Completely wipe out the Gaia player's army. My concern was, how is Mista going to deal with this gate, though? He's using villagers, but he's going to take a lot of losses here. He's losing his Medusa to the spawns, 90 health and counting, 50. So, that's a very costly loss already. He's got another Mana Core coming out. Bit of a missed micro here. Dryads for nothing. I'm a little confused. I don't see the production. I don't see any units being made. I don't think a Titan Gate was being researched, so... Okay, so he's producing from here mainly, trying to raid the gold. You see this gate just doing so much damage, it's still killing villagers. Mista's economy's gotta be crippled because of this gate. Still 500 HP on the gate, and he's now only got 2 villagers and Odysseus attacking it. These villagers are kind of trapped, so they're able to kill it freely. So those villagers that are in a safe location are going to dwindle it down, but you see Mista's economy taking a hit, all the farms idle on this town center, and now his gold's exposed and he's getting knocked off it. Mista moved out with his army, and kind of a mistake there. Moved out looking to harass, didn't really find anything, and instead is getting knocked off gold when he already had a kind of fragile economy to begin with, losing 2 Mana Core there for nothing. The gate has been killed though, so still 2 spawns out down here, but at least the gate's out of place. Gonna be a big fight here. See the Mana Core just absolutely killing everything with their special attack that does an area of effect. So these Dryads just do so well against the Centaurs and stuff, but looks like Mista's dwindling down the Gaia player here. Just the Mana Core's too strong. So trade up to the top for the Gaia player, starting to get that going. Still no walls, so he doesn't really have the map control to defend against Centaur raids or something, although Mista's Centaur counts down to 2 sub 10% HP Centaurs, so that's good. Let's check the upgrades. I haven't done that in a while because of action. So, still hand axe and pickaxe for Mista, level 2 farms. I would hope the Gaia player would have everything. So, Gaia player has everything except level 3 farms, so that's good to see. See Mista poking out here. This is going to be a bad fight for him. All these archers are back in a safe location, so the Gaia's player got to be happy with this right now. Thing is, these Mana Cores, there's got to be a way for the Gaia player to focus them down, otherwise they're just going to keep killing his units. You see him microing the heroes back so they don't get picked off, but... See, just look at that. It's 5 Arcus just almost insta-killed with the Mana Core special attack. The Mana Cores are also pretty tanky. 400 HP. They've got a lot more HP than Centaurs, so that kind of helps. Mista can kind of just turtle back and forth, recharge the special attack, and then attack again, and if the Gaia player clumps up, he's just going to lose like everything, so he's got to be extremely careful. Now I got the belly out harassing the gold villagers. See Mista with a really strong push here. Also have a lot of clumped units, so as the special attacks come out, that's going to be bad. See the heroes though, they're starting to dwindle the mana core count. We went from 5 to now we're about 3 to 2. Belly also is pretty much dead. You see a Hoplite getting stuck there. Not sure how that happened. Mana core count's down to 2.5 now roughly, so he's Arcus. He's got to regroup his army, but he does have the trade route, which is going to help, so he was getting his gold harassed a bit. He's got gold up here. Mista trying to fortress down to the bottom left, or top side here, rather. Still got 1,700 gold for Mista on this gold mine, so he's not in danger of getting gold starved quite yet. Like the building spam down here, controlling that corner of the map. What that's going to do is going to allow him to see any kind of trade route Mista tries to establish to the bottom of the map. Does he see that fortress going up? Okay, now he's going to see it with the archery range coming into play. I'd like to see him shut that down. I mean, Mista's still on one gold mine that's nearing expiration. He doesn't have a trade route to the bottom, so he probably wants to get it to the top where he's building the stuff, but still, no reaction so far. Okay, the reaction comes. Okay, this is going to be close. If this building gets up, although it might be too far, if the building were to complete before the palace, then the Gaia Lush could stop the palace from completing. That's what he should have done. If he saw that palace away, all he's got to do is build like an economic guild. And if the economic guild's right next to the palace or fortress, the economic guild finishes first, then the Lush will prevent the palace from being completed, even if it's like 95% done. So this could have been prevented, this build here. Even just pre-building buildings like he did down here, he didn't build anything here, so it's allowing Mista to fortify that position up a bit. Other thing with the all Arcus army, it's kind of hard to bring buildings down. Alright, here we go. The underworld all in for Mista. Mista realizes he's gold starved. There's no more gold for Mista. He's kind of secured this position, but not really, so the underworld comes out. We do see architects though, and the fortified town center. Fortified obviously, but the architects is a huge steal. That's going to help him a lot. Mista with very few like actual military hack units, so not sure I really like this. I'd much rather see him defend. I think Mista's got very few units, so this is kind of an all-in for Mista. I like how the fortress went down. I think he also sees the gold here, so he's going to shut that down. Mista might be killing town centers, which is going to get the population advantage in his favor, but Mista still doesn't have gold. This is really bad for Mista. Very nice defensive towers here. Going to kill a few more villagers, but the clock's just taking for Mista. He's got no gold. He's going to be gold starved. As soon as these units die, which he really doesn't have that many military units, not that great upgrades either. As soon as Mista's military units die, he's pretty much got no way to make more without gold. No trade. Currently mining no gold. Sacrificed quite a few villagers. I guess he's still got okay, like, food and wood economies, but okay, so not even caring about the underworld passage, or okay, he's gonna react, but he's not thinking I need to kill this underworld and prevent units from coming back through. What he knows is he needs to prevent Mista from getting gold. He realized it's a gold starved situation. He's also fortified this up, so it's going to be extremely hard for Mista to really take these town centers. He might be able to get the fourth one, which would give him a little edge, but at the same time, even if he does take this without gold, he's just going to get overwhelmed eventually. See a good micro here from Mista, pulling back the Manicore so they didn't get corrupted. So, Mista's got a mini trade route, but very little gold being gathered from that. He's also been cleaned out at the top of the map. Bottom's still controlled. Oh, the mana core is just... that special attack is so brutal if you don't spread your units. What there is in this game is there's a... in the basic interface, there's an option to use the spread formation for your military units. So, I've seen Mista use it against Atlanteans in the past. He uses it to deal with Shockwave to get his units to spread out more. So I'd like to see that from Zoft. Spread his units out against the Manicore special attack. Mista still just has this mini trade route. At least what this trade route is going to do for him, though, is he's going to get donkeys out. So if he then can come down here, which it looks like he's doing now, if he comes down here and can clear this bottom part of the map out, he can then delete this market here, and then all 12 or so donkeys that he's already got out will start using this good, efficient trade route. The other thing that I haven't really talked about is this Titan Gate 50% complete. I really don't know how Mist is going to be able to deal with that. He's used Bolt, so he's going to have to deal with the full Titan. As far as I know, he's not researching his own Titan yet. So, you see him getting the upgrade for Hero HP, but that's not his own Titan, so... I really don't know how Mist is going to deal with the Titan. It's too late at this point. 70% complete. Mist is not going to have time to get out his own Titan. So he's going to get this trade route, but if the Titan can just kill the town centers that were traded to, or he can just use the Titan to shut down the trade route. Interesting, the hero completely shuts down, or I guess he had some help, but the trade route of the Gaia player has just been shut down. Looks, yep, the palace is just gonna get completed. See the upgrade difference. Mista has 2 classical and 1 heroic upgrade versus 2 mythic and 1 heroic upgrade, so the upgrade advantage going heavily in the Gaia player's favor. Trade's messed up. Quick look at the economy. It's even on food and wood almost exactly, but you see the 2-to-1 gold difference, 26k to 13k in gold, so that's the story of the game so far. Now the story is going to be what this Titan does. We've also seen Zof pop blocked a lot because he was down the 2 town centers and has only been rebuilding with 2 villagers, so he's just about to get back even town center population wise, so I saw units blocked here, pop blocked from being produced earlier here, but now that he's got his 3rd town center back, he can start making more units. Has he readjusted his trade yet? Where did all the... Okay, no, so he's got to fix his trade. He doesn't want to leave it like that. He can trade to the bottom of the half of the map now, would be pretty good. Concerning for Mista is he's getting pushed back into his base, and that's without the Titan coming into play yet. So, I don't know if... I don't see any real preparations for Mista to deal with the Titan. His base looks just like it did before, so... he's going to be able to kill it eventually, but... doesn't have the Beast Slayer upgrade, or at least I can't see. The other thing, just the Titan killing units like this... it's just brutal for Mista. When you've got no gold income to begin with, and then you're having a Titan just like one-shot a bunch of units, that's just tough. I also missed it, but this belly is pretty much dead at the moment. I guess the Dryad's been killing it? See the push in here with units and the Titan. I mean, honestly, Mista's really just screwed. It's pretty much over for Mista. He doesn't have the gold income, or hasn't had the gold income all game to deal with this. Belly's about to die, which will then cost him another 400 gold to remake that. Titan's still got More than 3/4 of its HP. One town center's down for him. The key thing for the Gaia player is he's got to reinforce. He can't let Mista reclaim the town center like this. He also should be picking off this 10 HP hero instead of letting it get beat on his Titan. Still don't think he's realized it. There we go, the Titan's gonna do it. And there we go, the good game for Mista. So, two things there. The no food, yep, Mista's complaining about the lack of food, and then the gold positions weren't too bad. At least Mista had one safe gold, but his third gold was the issue in that it was directly to the bottom of the map, and the Gaia player controlled the map and controlled the gold as a result. The other thing with the early sheep, that kind of works for the Gaia player's favor. In the Gaia player's favor, because you got the early husbandry and probably got an extra 500 food worth of husbandry, sheep, or goats rather. So that was game 1 of the series in a best of 5. Bit of an upset, especially because it was played at main civs, but again, the maps can determine the tournament, so got a good map for the Gaia player in game 1. Mista still has to lose 2 more times to be eliminated, but not the way you want to start. The other thing with this tournament, and the kind of can't play the same civ twice, winning the first game makes a huge difference. Especially, maybe a little less so in the best of 5, but in the best of 3 matchups, I think we saw it a few times where the person who won game 1 ended up getting to play their main civ again in game 3, which then made the difference in game 3. I know that personally affected my series a bit, and I think I saw it at least another series or 2 where even though the series was even the first 2 games, game 3 came down to one player playing their main civ and then the other player not playing his main civ, but here, when you've got a Gaia player having to go Aranos in the second game, I don't know how practiced he is with Aranos, but that could actually be doing himself a favor. Aranos, because he does actually have the heroes, the unit speed, the shockwave, there's really no question that Aranos is the stronger Atlantean god over Gaia. He just plays Gaia. I don't know his full reason, but I think part of it is because nobody else would. Or he's attached to Gaia, and it's not because Gaia is strong. I can tell you that. He's kind of just been the only Gaia, or one of the few Gaia experts out there. So he's good with Gaia, experience with that, but it'll be interesting to see what the switch to Aranos, technically and really without question a stronger Atlantean civ, will do for him, if it could actually work in his favor. Oh my gosh, are we really at 100 viewers almost? I'd say I've dealt with that number before, but it's a new high for the PK Clan channel, so for those interested in the AOM competitive games at the highest level, this is your place. Tournament's currently in the round of 16. I think this is the 3rd of the 8 round of 16 matchups that'll get played, so if you're not already, follow the PK Clan channel. And you'll get email notifications when streamers go live and bring you some of the remaining tournament action. Alright, so this is game 2. I'll update the stream title real quick, so excuse the still camera for a second. Alright, so second game of the best of 5. It's 1-0 for Bouarim/Soft, the Gaia/Aranos player, to the right side here in the red. He's going Aranos this game because he won the last game as Gaia, and you can't go the same winning Civ twice in a series. Okay, first thought, Savannah. Hunt can be all over the place. High Hunt Savannah. Mista's got to be having a very happy reaction to the sight of that much Hunt in his starting line of sight in Savannah. A lot of times you can get a Savannah where all you have is chickens, and you can't find any rhinos, you can't find any Hunt, and you're stuck on chickens on a map that you would hope would be high Hunt, but both players thankfully starting with all their massive amounts of Hunt in line of sight, so I'm hoping Mista won't be complaining about the lack of food this game, because this is really as good as it gets for a Savannah map, hunt-wise, to start. Alright, so other thing to note on this map, Savannah is typically probably the best map for an Aranos player. I'd like to get Army Corps' thoughts on this, but I know Army Corps typically does really well on this map. And the reason being is if you look at the second golds, I know we're just starting to scout, but right now for Mista, his second gold would be all the way out here to the top of the map, or maybe even in the middle of the map. Either way, Mista doesn't really have a safe second gold on this map, so he runs the risk of getting gold starved again like we saw in the first game, unless he's able to get enough units out early and control the map. That said, if you've ever watched Mista play against Aranos or Atlantean, he does a really good job of massing a strong army early and kind of building that up. Once you build up your army as Greek, your units are stronger. Your centaurs do a lot of damage to non-hero units, so as you trade, you can dwindle the number of heroes your opponent has, and then you just become even stronger with your hip-hop centaur army. So, I think we'll see Mista going with the early hip-hop cent army composition and trying to move out and control the map a bit more this game. And he's able to do that because he actually has food and hunt this game, whereas last game he had to transition to farms at 7 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on that this game and see when Mista goes to farms this game. Just kind of highlight the difference of what the low hunt actually meant to him last game. So, see, just hunting dogs coming out for the Aranos player. I guess, okay, I was thinking he was Gaia for a second to say on a high hunt map like this as Gaia, you can literally research the hand axe right after you get hunting dogs, and then get pickaxe right after that. So basically you're got your classical eco upgrades like 1 minute into the game as Gaia on a high hunt map like this, but he's Aranos, so I'll leave that Gaia upgrade conversation to a later game. So, 4 minute 30 classical coming out from Mista, going Hermes for the centaurs, so we'll see the typical get a early second centaur and then get an early upgrade for the centaurs after you've got 2 of them out. Kind of pressure your opponent. This is kind of a good gold location for the Aranos player. You can make a mini wall here and shut that off. I don't know if the centaurs can really get in range from behind the woods here. I almost would have liked to see his temple and manor built to the top here to kind of create a wall here instead, but can't complain about that gold location as the Aranos player. Mista's gold a bit forward and out in the open, but having the 2 sets of woods here, plus the very nice temple house wall that he's already built, he'll just have to wall off this little section here, wall off here. Even right here, like this is not a bad location to wall off, so the point I'm trying to get to is not a bad defensive gold for Mista either, thanks to the woods, so I don't think we're going to see any like early gold starve pressure on either opponent. So we see their early hand axe and pickaxe out of the Aranos player. Early hand axe for Mista. Also a really nice relic for Mista. Gold and wood faster. That's a 5% bonus on the gold and wood gather rates for Mista. So Probably one of the better relics in the game. See down to the bottom, there's another relic, but it's just more hit points for building, which isn't nearly as useful. Did he forget he was... Okay. So, I missed it, but I saw this. If you watched the earlier game, I believe it was an Aranos mirror that you saw. So I'll do this as where he went Oceanus and Aranos mirror, and it ended up costing him the game. So he did it again. He didn't go Prometheus and get the Valor, so yeah, he picked Oceanus, so I don't know why. I'd love to talk to him. I don't know if it's just out of spite that he just thinks he can win without it, but especially when you're getting Centaur rated on an open map like that, having 3 free heroes is a lot better than having to manually convert your heroes. I don't really understand anything Oceanus could give that would make up for those heroes. See him using his early and high hunt map to get out some early Murmelows. Just gonna pressure. He's got to be careful. As Mista ups his Centaur count, he can hunt the Murmelows down and basically just kill them for nothing with the Centaurs. See here, 1 down. He's about to pick off a second, and it's just gonna get worse. Honestly, I don't see how you can beat Mista going Oceanus in this matchup as Aranos. With Gaia, at least you've got the cheap economy upgrades, which kinda allow you to have the extra resources to convert the heroes manually, but as Aranos, and then on an open map like this, that's kinda just prone to Centaur rating, he's just... I think this could end up being a quick game. So, map's been fully scouted now. We see gold is actually quite in favor of the Aranos player. This gold mine isn't terrible. It's kind of to the back. This one's literally within range of his town center, where if you look at Mista's golds, Mista's got this gold all the way to the top in no man's land, or this gold to the bottom that's kind of zoned out by the trees, but zoned out by the trees in a bad way, and that it zones him out and leaves it open to the other side in his opponent's raids. So Mista's got a farm down in about 8 minutes, so a little later, but still just 1 farm instead of mass farms. It's interesting, Mista hasn't really taken advantage of the hunt on the map. See this second pack of gazelles being utilized down here. I guess Mista's gazelles are all the way out there, and then Mista's also got giraffes here, which he isn't taking advantage of. This villager's very close to being picked off. He's not gonna... It's gonna get picked off. It's... Oh! I think that's 1 HP or 1 hit. 1 HP, 1 hit. What's the difference? That villager barely survives. See the kind of pressure coming out from the Aranos player, but he's not really doing anything with it at the moment. See Mista, look at the building walls. Kind of walling himself into a defensive position, and then with Centaurs, and then his hip-hop comp, he can kind of control the map, which is what he needed to do in this matchup. He does see his giraffes down here, so... I missed whether that villager escaped or died. I'm guessing it died, because I don't see any 1 HP villagers elsewhere, unless it magically got healed, but I'm guessing Mista picked it off knowing it was so low. Up to the top here, some raiding, but Mista with just a perfect defense. 2 hips, a hop, a centaur. We're just going to allow him to defend so easily. Alright, so there's the shockwave coming out. Gonna pick off a hoplite and half a centaur for the shockwave god power use. That's not the best use in the world. See him getting caught out here. The centaurs are just going to pick him apart. Only having the 3 heroes, Mista's just going to focus the heroes, so the heroes are going to have to constantly be moving, otherwise the human units are just going to kill the heroes, and then the centaurs will just have free reign. Again, it all comes down to going Oceanus over Prometheus. I just don't understand that decision. I think it's more out of spite than it is about winning. Interesting, Mista hasn't gotten husbandry yet. I don't know if he accidentally forgot it, or if he just wants the wood for centaurs and stuff. I kind of expected it a bit earlier from him. Sometimes you'll forget it in a game this intense, though. So we talked earlier about the golds being bad for Mista, but with the lack of heroes from the Uranos player, Mista's just been able to take map control with the Centaur, so the gold starve isn't going to be something Mista's going to have to worry about at this point. It's actually the Uranos player who's on the verge of getting gold starved here. This fight's going to determine the game. He's got more gold down here, but Mista's got vision of that gold mine. He's basically committed his entire gold to this mine here, so if Mista takes this fight, this is going to be game. See, the heroes were healed back up. I know they had been low earlier, so that's, I guess, the one nice thing of Oceanus, that you can heal your units. You see just the 6 centaurs dodging the hero projectile, the micro Mista with the hippie guns on the heroes, which is exactly what he needs to do. I'm surprised this hero's lived so long, but it's going to get picked off. Even if they just trade units, it's going to be working for Mista's favor, because he's getting the better of this trade, so Mista comes out on head. More importantly, he dwindles the hero numbers, so it's not just losing the fight that's critical for the Uranos player here, it's the fact that he loses all his heroes, which costs a shit ton to remake if you're not Prometheus and don't have the Valor God power or even the cheaper hero upgrade, although you wouldn't have it at that point in the game anyway. And there you go, the good game. The Uranos player gets gold starve. A reverse of fortunes from the first game we saw. So, honestly, if I had to determine this game, it really just the decision to go Oceanus, and then probably just not as accustomed to the Uranos playstyle. That Shockwave wasn't the greatest. He kind of struggled with the pressure. Again, I think he said he hadn't been practicing. He hadn't been practicing that much for the tournament to begin with. So, with limited practice, you're probably going to be a lot better at your main civ and rusty if you're off civing Uranos. So now what's interesting about this tournament in the way the rules are set up, so you can't play the winning civ twice, so now we're going to have Zof's main of Gaia against Mista's alt civ of probably Poseidon. Poseidon not quite as strong as Zeus. Still with the strong units, still with centaurs, but not quite as many centaurs because of the lack of the starting favor and the slightly less favor tick. Stronger hippie cons potentially, but if Zuf can win the first game in the Zeus vs Gaia matchup, I definitely give him. Okay, is this set? So we're not going to see the Poseidon from Mista. So we see the Egyptian potentially coming out from Mista. Yes, we do. Okay, so now Set versus Gaia. This should be interesting. I'd be curious to get Mista's thoughts post-game about why he felt more comfortable going Set rather than Poseidon. I believe it was his first round best of 3 series where he went Poseidon in the second game, if I'm not mistaken. So Savannah's the map again. Again, a map where the hunt can vary a bit. seeing an unfortunate start balance-wise. This is what I talked about. Sometimes you can get a Savannah where you just have chickens in line of sight. So we see, starting on his chickens, where if you saw Mista had 2 rhinos in line of sight. So one player is starting on chickens and one player is starting on 2 rhinos, which it does make a difference. The gather rate on hunts, especially with hunting dogs, is so much faster than chickens that having these 2 rhinos in line of sight versus having your 2 rhinos out of line of sight can really affect how the game plays out. So ideally we wish it would have been even and that an advantage wouldn't be coming this early into the game, but it's random maps, so just how it plays out at times. Also see Mista finding the pack alliance with his vision. What that's going to do is it's going to allow him to scout a ton. Set's probably the best scouting civ in the game, and that the hyena is really good, and then if your priest converts some good animals as well, you can pretty much scout the entire map by 4 minutes. Also see a lot of goats on this map. Very nice intercept here. Stealing 3 back, but already Mista being Egyptian and having 10 goats this early into the game, 11 goats. Okay, and he steals these back. If we've got a 14-3 goat advantage for Mista, that could also have a huge effect on the game. He's going to keep going. He can just kill the Oracle Scout too. That's the other brutal thing. In the Atlantean versus Set matchup early on like this, and that the Set animals can just kind of control. Looks like he's going to steal these 4 goats back. Very nice play. Trying to keep the line of sight. Once he gets him in his tower, he should be good. Alright, I like that goat steal. Some high level goat stealing right there. It's going to make it 11-7, which is a lot more even than 14-3, so glad he was able to pull off the goat steal. Alright, so see the Gaia player did find his rhinos, which are out here. Not the best gazelle pack, only 3 of them. So I'm seeing a pack of 4 zebras out here, and I saw 1 zebra in a fog of war here. I'm curious if there are more zebra here or not. Because I'm looking at the Gaia player. Sources a hunt after these rhinos run out, and I really don't see a lot. Berries down here. There were elephants to the middle here, but Mista's converting those, so we've got some zebra up here and another 2 elephants, but not a lot of secondary food options for the Gaia player, is what I'm kind of getting at. Mista even has another rhino down here, so I wonder if so 1 more rhino up top for the Gaia player. I don't know if he scouted that though. Probably not, if I had to guess. That said, we did see the early husbandry come out from the Gaia player, so with the sheep steal of the 4 extra sheep, 7 sheep with husbandry should at least give him a decent source of food. And then even if he does have like a second hunt source, he probably wants to fall back into the safety of his base against the set pressure. You can always have a pharaoh harass. You've got these elephants which could kill a villager if they caught it. And then shifting sands as well, which could be devastating if he catches 2 vills with the early shifting sands, which is always possible. For Mista, still just hunting dogs. I'll be curious to see if Mista goes pickaxe or husbandry first. See, he's got the 2 villagers on wood, so we'll eventually get wood for something. And does he go pickaxe first or husbandry with the 11 goats? So there we go. Mista moving out. Mista almost classical. Alright, he's able to shift 2 villagers potentially. He gets 2 villagers! Ugh! That could literally be game right there. Losing 6 villagers like 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the game is just brutal. Ugh. That's just heartbreaking as the Atlantean player. So shifting sands basically will target a villager at random first as the first villager to shift, and if the first target's the full HP villager, more than 150 HP, then it'll just shift one villager. However, if the first villager targeted is the one below a certain HP threshold, the 126 or whatever villager got targeted first, and that didn't meet the minimum threshold, then it takes a second unit with it, so that's why it ended up getting 2 villagers that time. It's a bit random on which one it selects first. Curious to see how Mista decides to follow this up strategy-wise. He's set so the pre-siege wouldn't be as strong. Okay, see the armory coming up. So I'd say one way to follow up with this, and I had it happen to me the other day, when you lose those 2 villagers, you're just so far behind economically that if you then bring a pre-siege rush on top of it, it can just be brutal. Especially for a Gaia player who doesn't really have a way to deal with the myth units that the pre-siege rush includes. The ancestors, or even just the Wadjet and Scorpion men could just be a pain in the... So, like the tower upgrade, like the woods around the towers, which will help defending the pre-siege. If the siege towers can't kill the towers, then the towers will just have free reign to target the priests, but... doesn't look like Mista's going to go with the pre-siege strategy. He's just going to play it out standard, which he still should have a huge advantage with. Control of the map. So I don't think I talked about it on this variation, but again, last time, Savannah's a map where you can typically have bad gold, so... Still see about 2,000 left, so we're ways away from that point, but it wouldn't surprise me if we have what happened last game, and the Atlantean player getting gold starved on his second gold mine, potentially. So, okay, so gonna be about a 9-minute heroic from Mista. Curious to see what he does with the heroic, though. I mean, it's gonna give him ancestors, but at the same time, I don't know if he plans on pressuring in or just controlling the map. You see him using the Bliss to get vision. This is really nice. I know ISIS players will typically do their initial Bliss for vision, but all Egyptians should really use them if you've got like control of the map. You don't want your opponent like sneaking in at a place you don't see, and for 10 or 15 gold. A Bliss are really nice to control the map and should be used, I think, more in the late game. I personally mess it up and get caught in places I should have had vision if I just built in a Bliss, so I like how Mista's kinda... It's risky sending the priest out alone, and that the Terma could catch it and kill it for nothing, but at the same time, Mista's gonna have really nice vision of all the gold mines on the map, so you can kinda see him starting to set up the gold starve strategy. These those 3 elephants are just such a meat shield. Can said animals be healed by the priest? Does anybody know that? He might have done it, but I missed it. I'm just curious. Because if you can keep re-healing those elephants, that's pretty nice. Also like the Oracle placement from the Gaia. Gonna allow him to see when Mista takes his second town center, or if he takes his third. So, losing the 2 villagers early as Gaia sucks, but at the same time, with the early upgrades, he can kind of battle it back. Okay, I completely missed the second town center being taken. See the Scorpion man doing a bunch of harass on one of the villagers. Going for the second villager. I don't think Mista has the units or the position to get in place and stop the town center from going up. So, okay. Scorpion man picks off a villager. He's gonna pick off a second villager unless there are more hero conversions. Ouch! That's heartbreaking. If Mista can out, or I still don't think Mista has the army. I was gonna say, if Mista could, like, take the HP down on that settlement and prevent him from even getting the second settlement up, that would pretty much be the game. Losing 4 villagers this early, without getting the second town center up, you'd just be so far behind economically, but he does get a second town center up before Mista started his, so he can try to start coming back economically, but at the same time, he's massively behind. And now facing, a potential siege tower push from Mista. See Mista with the siege works from his base, and then also building a forward siege work, so the reinforcement distance will be even less. Still has all his initial animals too. Okay, so he can't lose a 5th villager like that. Scorpion Man's alive, just barely up top. Be nice if Mista can recognize that at some point and heal it back up. Let's just seeing where Mista's priest went to the top. So Ancestors, Mista was surrounded pretty badly, but can he focus this villager? 15 HP on the villager. If Mista focuses it, he's killing this town center for sure. There we go. Spearman and Crocodile. Villager is dead. No other units to kill this siege tower, so second town center is going to go down. Another villager dies. Ancestors just completely zoning out the army. Even though the Gaia player had the advantage army-wise, the Ancestors just completely changes that. So he's now gold-starved. The initial starting gold mines run out. You're going to see him send his villagers to the top, but Mista with the Bliss. 1, 2, 3. I know where you're going with your gold villagers. I've got control of the bottom here. I've got line of sight of that gold mine. It's just a matter of when the GG is typed at this point. There's really... Mista's got too much of an upper hand army-wise. He is healing that Scorpion Man that was at 10 HP. See the gold villagers going to the top, but Mista's got line of sight of that. He'll be able to shut it down easily. Slinger's outnumbering Terma 2 to 1. You've got the siege towers to tank. You've got the Scorpion Man. It's just going to send the Scorpion Man to do all the dirty work again. He's going to hope to see a second Scorpion Man. Does he have a second monument, or is he... I think he's just playing off of 1 monument, so his favor tick might not be that good. Say spamming Scorpion Men against a Gaia are just so strong. So really this fight's going to determine the game, and it should be relatively one-sided. Good micro there, dodging all the slinger fire. Really nice, look at that. The slingers are just shooting up at the bird thing and missing it. Problem is it's still a 2 to 1 fight, numbers-wise. Also got these siege towers here. He should be using the siege towers and microing them forward so that the Terma will automatically attack the closest unit, which will be the siege towers, but even with the better micro there, he just was outnumbered and too far behind. So, what was the biggest factor in that game? Probably the luck of the shifting sands. I mean, getting 2 villagers like that early into the game when all you really did was Pharaoh harass like for half a second to do a little damage, it's just brutal. I think 1 villager loss is manageable, but 2 can just cripple you way too easily. Alright, so let me update the stream title quickly. So now we're at 2-1 Mista in a best of 5. So, if Mista wins this, the series is over and Mista advances. Both players will have their main civs available to them. So if it can go Gaia again and Mystic can go Zeus, so I'm guessing that's a matchup we'll see again. Say Gaia's strength is water. I know we've got an all land game so far, but the early or the Oceanus plant and then just the early eco spam, the number of ships Gaia can get out are pretty brutal, so ideally we'd like to see a water map because I think it would be a bit more even. It would also be a different change of pace. We've had all open land maps so far, 3 straight open land maps, which kind of lend to the Gold Star style that we've seen in all 3 games. All 3 games have been tap outs by way of Gold Star. So I think water map will give us a sort of a different play style, which I'd kind of like to see. And yes, for anybody wondering, the Rex of this series will be valid, as there's only one observer. So I think this is the 3rd matchup in the round of 16, and I think the Rex from all 3 series so far have been valid. So if you want to take build orders or strategies, you're going to have Rex to do it from. I know the stream can't always catch everything, so being able to have those recorded games to look at the specific build orders a player might use can be helpful, especially since you don't get to see players playing seriously all the time, so you just have like a random show match on Voobly or something. People might not be going their pure optimal builds, but in a $2,500 cash prize tourney like this, you know players will be pulling out their optimal build orders, so if you want strategies to copy, this is the place to get them. So, be fun to see a water map here, but again, Mista winning. Yeah, so by Mista winning the games 2 and 3, if it does go to a game 5, then Mista will have his best civ available to him. Whereas he'll have to go Uranus again, which we saw made a huge difference. And yes, for people asking about the score, I try to update the titles with the current result. Sometimes I'll forget it, but I try to include the score in the title of the stream, so if you're ever watching and want to know like what the score is, it's usually a decent place to check. So hoping for a water map is my only thoughts. I think different style of play, different style of micro with the ship micro, so I think it would be interesting. I think Mediterranean would be the most interesting one. That way they'd be going head to head, and the ship spam, ship micro right away, and then the Gaia economy can just really pump ships out a lot, so be the fun map to see. Whereas some other water maps, like probably not as interesting, like in Midgard, because the ships are so far away. Midgard, you give the huge favor to the Zeus player, in that he can likely have safe fishing and then just unit spam him on land, so Mediterranean's the most even option. And then some of the other water maps that have like 2 sides, like Anatolia, typically you'll favor the civs that are non-Atlantean civs because they only have to send 1 villager to build their docks and can build docks on both sides easier, so hoping for Mediterranean, as is most of the chat I can see. They did both agree to save Highland ahead of time, just as a heads up. Really? Really? Savannah again? Alright, so first thing you want to see, you start with chickens always, so you want to see if you've got rhinos or some sort of form of hunt in line of sight, which the Gaia player does not. Same thing applies for Mista though. You can see the enthusiasm coming out from the players at getting this map. See, Mista spots his rhinos right away. And very nice sheep find for the Gaia player at least. 6 sheep right in the middle like that. That'll be nice. Okay, and he finds his rhinos too, and gazelles as well, so I'm liking the start for the Gaia player. Mista gets some sheep here. Mista's also got his gazelle and baboons on top of each other. Be curious to see if he hunts the baboons. I hate the monkeys because they run so far away and are so hard to kill that typically you lose a lot of efficiency with the walk distance when you hunt them, so I'm curious to see if Mista goes for them. One way to counteract that problem though is to specifically micro your villagers to kill them in place rather than letting the villagers kill them one at a time where they run more, so just curious to see how Mista will handle the baboons being on top of his gazelles there. So starting on the gazelles is also going to save villager HP for the Gaia player. I think a lot of Gaia player so it'll save some HP. If you try to kill the rhino early, you'll take damage for sure on your villagers, so just getting to the gazelles and getting out villagers in mass first will allow them to kill the rhinos later and then take less villager damage, which against centaur raids is okay. My initial train of thought was having to do with set shifting sands and wounded villagers, but I realized Mista wasn't set, so like the centaur raid analogy instead. So early husbandry out of the Gaia player. Still no hand axe. I know you can do like an early hand axe build. Choosing to go the husbandry though. 7 goats. You got those 6 right at the start. So wisely using 2 villagers, using his gold villager to help out, will allow him to kill it faster, but still losing almost half the villager HP. Kind of surprised he didn't just send that villager like to the giraffes. I guess less walking distance will allow him to get a classical a bit faster early on. And then he can take the giraffes later. I'm hoping that was the Gaia player who scouted the giraffes. So with the observer interface, you can't tell who scouted who, you can just tell it's been scouted. So I think Mista, like he's done in most of the other games, will go a centaur heavy strategy. Nice thing about this version though is I'm looking at the woods for the Gaia player, and the woods are, he's got a lot of woods around his base, which makes walling off a bit easier. That said, his gold is probably about as far forward as can be, and really without tower protection, so this is dangerous, and Mist is going to scout it with a scout right now. So this is a really bad gold mine for the Gaia player, potentially. Mista's gold just as bad, though. Against a heavy Uranus player, Mista's got no tower protection and really no way to wall it in either. It's out in the open, so bad golds for both players. Whether either of them tries to play aggressive and take advantage, I'd probably say no. I think they'll just play their raid styles and play conservatively rather than trying to go sort of more of an all-in and knock their opponent off the starting gold. This hero from Mist is just going to be annoying and do quite a bit of damage. Okay, so we see Leto coming out instead of Oceanus, so this is a different approach for... So we've seen Oceanus pretty much all the other games, even when he was Aranos, so... Bit of a switch up here. Really no way to deal with this pesky hero. He can't get units out for another... Alright, you just get classical, so he'll instantly throw down counter barracks to get units out to deal with this hero harass, but... That hero's probably killed at least a villager's worth of HP. I know he hasn't killed a whole villager, but... Combined on the force so that he's been attacking equates to a full villager's worth of HP, which could come into play when raids happen later on. This is also really unfortunate in that the hero just killed half of the god power. You also have to add on the fact that Mista's now gonna see... Okay, just barely saves that villager, 9 HP, 1 hit from dead. Mista saw the location of those other 2 spider hatchling locations, so... Going with the automaton defense, so I'm guessing most people have never seen this, but these units can essentially repair and resurrect each other. So you basically can just spam them and keep spamming them. You see the corpses remaining here, they won't go away. Basically, he can get them back out again. As soon as he gets like Mista push back, he can start making more. So this is kind of a really defensive style of play. As you can see, they're not exactly the tankiest or do the most damage for a unit, so... yeah, wow. 2 heroes and 2 centaurs decide a game. So kind of an anticlimactic game 4, where Jason, Odysseus, and 2 centaurs are enough to win a competitive game. So, yeah, triple Savannah, not the most interesting map to see 3 times in a row in this matchup. Also not considered good map for Gaia against Zeus. Alright. So, unofficial game coming your way. People wanted to see it, so I know this was disappointing, but we'll bring you the game we all wanted to see. Gaia versus Zeus on Mediterranean. So, this tournament match is officially over. Let's be clear about that. Mista wins 3-1, but as a little show match for the viewers, we're going to have the match on Mediterranean that we all wanted to see. So, just to be clear, Mista won the tournament round match by a score of 3-1, but we'll have one extra show match game for you of Zeus vs Gaia on Mediterranean. The 4th game was Savannah for the 3rd game in a row. with the Gaia player having a forward gold and then also having forward hunt. So Mista literally just sent his Jason hero and harassed 4 or 5 villagers on gold and the rhinos and knocked them off food and gold, and then followed up with Odysseus and 2 centaurs, and Odysseus and 2 centaurs were enough to win the game. So, bit of an anticlimactic game 4 to end the series, but the tournament's about games and entertainment for the viewers, so players both agreed to do an additional game, show match type thing on Mediterranean, so we'll get to see how Gaia plays out on water. Again, this is an unofficial match. The series is over, 1-3-1 by Mista, but because the last game was so bad and anticlimactic, we'll do an extra game on a more balanced map and a water map to see how Gaia fares here. So nice thing for Gaia, she's got cheaper fishing ships, 45 wood versus 50. She can also cast her trees right on her dock, so this villager saves a bit of walking distance. The trees also have a slightly higher wood gather rate than normal trees. Decent boar location for the Gaia player. Is going to be able to hunt off the boars instead of the chickens, which give a slightly faster gather rate. See Mista going for the pig strategy, so as a Greek player on a water map like this, your granary costs 50 wood, so Mediterranean especially usually has a lot of pigs out on the sides of the map, so you can just eat your starting pigs and just keep scouting more pigs, sending them back, and maintain a food rate from that, and save out on having to spend the 50 wood on the granary and invest that in a much earlier second fishing ship, so that's the typical Zeus water build, or Greek water build that you'll see from most of the Greeks. Kinda crappy fishing spawns for mainly the Gaia player, but I wouldn't call Mista's fishing spawns amazing either. He's kinda just got the 2 close and then a bunch of mid-distance ones, where the Gaia player unfortunately has pretty much all mid-distance fishing, so not the best map for the Gaia player, for sure. That sucks when the boar runs away. I don't know how the AI is programmed, but every once in a while, like, the aggressive animals will just run away from you, so rather than having come to you, kill it, and be gathering, you waste 10 seconds trying to chase it down. So it looks like all the fishing's pretty much to the bottom half of the map, so it's probably going to favor Mista positionally. Town center position, you see Mista's got the 2 town centers kind of in his pocket here. Neither in water range. I believe this town center, I think this is just barely out of water range, but it's really close. And then his second town center will be back here, so town centers on different sides for the Gaia player. Typically can be a bit harder to defend. I think most people would prefer they'd be on the same side, but at the same time, if you want to secure your third down here, your second's back here, you can then, if you're controlling this, get a nice trade route going. So I think it's easier to get a trade route with your third out here, but it's safer and more easy to secure the third if it's back there like Mista has. Alright, classical time, so see a very early classical coming from the Gaia player about 4:30. Also see a really early classical from Mista coming out, so this rec's going to be valid. I'll post this too, but you can see some seriously early classical builds being executed by both players here. So Mista's about 10% faster, so he'll get classical of about 6 seconds sooner. Shouldn't be enough to cause a significant advantage. Let's see the number of fishing ships for each player. I see 4 for Mista, 6, 9 for Mista. I think about 10 for the Gaia player, so fishing ships pretty much cancel out. Got 2 docks apiece. We see the Oceanus, which is going to give him this free myth unit, which doesn't really do much, but it can tank some damage and potentially heal. Normally people don't use it to heal, but at this level of play we might see it healing some, which will be interesting. You've also got the Carnivora, the plant god power, which if you cast it in range of a arrow ship, it'll one-shot it if its special attack is up. So if used correctly, that god power is like will pretty much remove a opposing ship and then tank some damage while your opponent tries to kill it. You see Mista moving out with the Jason and Minotaur on the land. Typically that landing player is just going to be making pure arrow ships, so he's not even going to have the military production out to deal with this. He doesn't have a counter land myth unit. So back in the action, just positioning back and forth. We see the Gaia player jump out to an early advantage. No Odysseus for Mista, so he didn't dedicate the 200. Okay, he did make the Odysseus, I take that back. So we see Mista going for the land harass with the 2 heroes. Committing 200 wood for 2 Odysseus is going to slow his fishing, or arrow ship production rather, so that's why we have him at a disadvantage on land. You see the 2 ships pulled back here. Is he going to lose one? Yep. Bit of a mismicro there from Mista. I guess he pulled him back from this location, so early water advantage goes in favor of the Gaia player. That said, this hero harass is pretty bad. I do like this mana placement, and that it's kind of zoning out the Jason a bit. Tower fires pretty much killed off the Minotaur soon. Killing the pigs shouldn't really matter much to him, so would have liked to seen the Gaia player be a little more aggressive on water and try to knock Mista off his remaining fishing ships. Like this one is gonna get back with 25 food. If he had knocked that off a little earlier, he probably could have killed it even. If he had caught it out there, he probably could have killed that ship. Still gonna pick off a second fishing ship, so I haven't caught whether any villagers have actually died, but the Minotaur 7 HP and it's gonna get away. That's really unfortunate. Jason's also running away. Fight in the water. I missed the Carnivore God Power going down, but water with Restoration's gonna start going in Mista's favor now. Oh my gosh! Talk about OP strategies right there. Mista uses the Restoration on water and then also heals the Minotaur and his heroes who are doing the harassment here. Now you've got a bunch of low HP villagers who are now going to get harassed by the full HP Minotaur and heroes again. Wow, talk about a really nice strategy. I'm sure we'll see that on the ladder and Boobly. Players testing out this strategy as Zeus. But it's not even the fact that he's Gaia that makes this so strong. I mean, Uranus would be a little better in that he'd at least have Prometheans to defend, but the heroes should kill those relatively easily, and then it's just a factor of getting out the land units. I guess you could get out 3 land units and convert them to heroes, which would make dealing with the Minotaur earlier. You've also got the Oracle Valor potential as Uranus and Kronos, but nonetheless, you see a dead villager carcass there. Just no real way to deal with this harass. So, yeah, the Minotaur got away with 7 HP and then came back with full HP as a result of the restoration. And yeah, I agree, the Gaia player could have definitely pressured water more and knocked Mista off his fishing. So, I think earlier, if you're looking at things the Gaia player could have done, earlier pressure, trying to get Mista off his fishing ships earlier, and then anticipate the land rush and get out a counter barracks or military barracks early. to try to deal with that pressure better. So Mista had more fish, but at least Mista docked down here too, so he just had the 2 fishing ships close, whereas if he docked up here and had the 5 close, it would have been even worse, because the Gaia player had nothing close. Alright, I think that's going to be it for today. So I think there was a series cast earlier by Ghost Lake of Urt and Navely. If people want to check out Ghost Lake's channel and the VOD there of that matchup. I believe the Rex for that series should also be valid, so you can also watch the Rex of that series. And then we had the 4 games plus this little extra game between Mista and Zoftir. Mista winning 3-1 and advancing on to play the winner of Arrow and TSM player. So, bit of surprise was winning the Gaia vs Zeus matchup in the first game. Kind of a bad map for Mista, but 3 straight Savannahs after that allowed Mista to come back relatively strongly. So, could have been interesting if Mista had ended up dropping a second game. I know he's probably the favorite of the tournament, so seeing him on the ropes with winner go home game would have been pretty interesting, but he avoids that at least for now. So next round Mista gets Arrow or player, both Zeus players I believe, so we could see some Greek mirror matchups for Mista's next match. Alright, I was Rifang on the casting the PK AOT Tournament 5 round of 16 matchup. This was the 3rd matchup of the 8 matchups for this phase of the tournament, so keep an eye out. I think tomorrow afternoon we might have another matchup coming, and then over the weekend, Saturday/Sunday, I think you'll see the other 4 potentially played. So if you don't already, follow the PK Clan channel. This is where pretty much all the action is going to be taking place, so if you want email notifications of when games are going live, follow the channel. And check out the PK Clan site. They've got a scheduling forum there, so I know time of when the games are is usually hard to find, but if you go to the PK Clan site, look at the forums, you can usually find a scheduling forum where you can get a general sense of when the players are trying to schedule for and play. And then you can also see the brackets, which I'll link to in a second. So for those looking for the brackets, check the brackets out there. Alright, so thanks for tuning in. I think we hit like 110 viewers, which is the most for a stream for the PK tourney so far. So thanks for tuning in, and more action tomorrow, I think around 20 GMT. So keep an eye out for that. Good night.